Welcome to DealerSocket. My name's Brandon Alexander. I'm a customer success manager for DealerSocket. And today on DealerSocket, where we do DealerSocket training videos, digital marketing strategies, personal branding techniques, and so much more. Today, we're talking about Campaign Manager. And so if you're watching this video, you may have come from a video where I talked about your 2020 marketing plan, or you're coming from Document Manager and how to build campaigns. And so in this exact video, we're going to discuss Campaign Manager, which is found under the marketing tools, the pie chart or marketing tools, and it's right here under Campaign Manager. Now, if you're an admin or a sales manager or general sales manager, you may have access to these three tabs. And so today, we're simply talking about on this video about campaign settings, Campaign Manager, the campaign settings. There is a separate video that's going to pop up on the top right of your screen with a letter I, a little I information thing that's going to talk about smart links. There's also a link in the description. But we're going to simply focus on a simple campaign. So campaigns, what are they? I like to refer them as processes, something steps we want to take after we do something. Okay, so we sell a car. We're going to build a campaign that sends an email, that triggers an activity for the salesperson, then triggers an activity for the sales manager, maybe triggers an activity for the BDC. And then it gets to the end of that campaign and maybe we want to, maybe we want to put them into another campaign, right? So on and so forth. So we have these steps and the ability to walk through a process to automate steps on something we want to do daily. So I'm going to make a reference to the 2020 marketing video I did in January where we're talking about, hey, let's pre-build some campaigns, okay? So again, like Document Manager, when you first get in here, you can search your old campaigns, but ideally you want to hit the new button first. And you're basically going to go through these drop downs, three of them for sure. Tracking code and campaign name. Campaign name might be Buyback Campaign 2020. Tracking code would be Buyback, right? Campaign 2020. Or you could edit this monthly to call it Buyback Jan, right? And then you'll have a tracking code that you can search by month or versus a campaign you can search in general for the whole year, right? So just different ideas. Typically, I would make it the same campaign name. Buyback, I might duplicate this and just create a secondary buyback January, buyback February, buyback April, buyback August, November, whatever date I'm going to make it. You want to change the type to the type of campaign it's going to be. Is this a dealership event or an offer? Is this about follow-up? Is this a vehicle ownership? Is this a service maintenance? You want to make sure you pick the correct category because DealerSocket is going to reference their communication preferences to see if they can receive this type of email. So you don't want to upset any customers. So those are the 3 of 4 big areas you want to check off. So campaign name, campaign tracking code, campaign type, and then this stop status. It took me a while when I worked at my dealership using DealerSocket for the first time. What is the stop status? Well, everybody should, for the most part, depending on the campaign, if it's going to be a prospecting campaign where we're trying to reach customers by the next vehicle, they're going to start in an unqualified status, meaning we have not had a dynamic conversation, okay? Once we have a dynamic conversation and we mark the call completed, we log an outbound phone call where we spoke to the customer, or we get an email and we reply to it, it's going to update the customer into a contacted status. And from that moment, it will stop the additional steps if we have any, okay? So case in point, a lot of people have an internet unqualified campaign. So let's just have a peek. This is a test site, so I'm really not sure what's going to be in there. But first, let's save this campaign. Okay, so I'm going to search purchase inquiry follow-up, internet unqualified, and I'm going to hit select. So there you go. We've got a next day call, a 2-day call, an internet email, a 4-day call, a 5-day call, a literature item. So we have these steps for somebody we have not had a conversation with. And for the sake of argument, let's say either the day 3 email or the day 4 call, they answer my call or they send an email back to me and I reply and it moves the customer to contacted. let's just say it's off the email. Day 4 and down will be turned off and not trigger. Okay, so that's the importance of stop status. If you have too many, you have enough activity in there that you don't want to inundate the customer with too much, but you don't want to miss them either. So coming back to our buyback campaign, you can simply go, hey, here's the process we want. We're going to laser focus, laser target, small bucket of people. We want to target 60 people amongst 10 salespeople, so 6 calls each. So we're going to create an event, also known as an opportunity, and we're going to call it Opportunity Start, right? Start of the opportunity. Okay, assign to. We're going to use the previous assigned. So whoever the previously assigned salesperson was, that's who it's going to go to, okay? If you use vehicle sales rep, your campaign should not don't create a new opportunity. You would just go into the first activity, because in that case, you're most likely already targeting a sold opportunity that has someone assigned, okay? In this case here, it's going to reference who's the previous person on an opportunity for this customer. It's Brandon Alexander. Let's put him. Description could be new programs on model XYZ. Call for interest, right? See if there's any interest. Perfect. If you choose an assign to, you don't have to worry about round robin, assign to BDC. If you have a BDC rep you want to assign to it, you can. So we can, we can select Brent is our BDC rep. We want to follow up on this. The type, if we're looking to replace their current vehicle with a new one, we'd like to put that in there. It's going to be a not customer initiated, because they're not in it. We're initiating it. Status is unqualified, so we talked about that. Some dealers use ranking differently, so we could start it off as medium or cold and adjust that as we go further. Like if the tracking code buyback campaign is in a contact status, update the ranking to medium, right? If an appointment is created, update it to hot, and we can filter those different ways to do that. Run date, I typically don't use because I'm usually running campaigns as we go. And sequence, this is the first step. First sequence. And days after prior, if we build a list today and we want to start this process tomorrow, I'm going to do 0 days. It gets enrolled tonight, between midnight and 5 a.m. And so days after prior means on the same day. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. So it's going to add that item to the bottom. So I know that on my buyback campaigns that we do, we're always going to create an opportunity. And then we're going to send the email. So we're going to pick literature item. And we're going to go send send email. This is where we now go to our special offers, and there's a video link up above called Document Manager with the letter I. This is where we're going to choose our January buyback email. Run date, leave blank. Its primary delivery is going to be email only. Sequence, it's step number 2. And if that doesn't show up for you, it's because Google just lists out those numbers that I've typed in. Days after prior. If we start the opportunity tomorrow morning and we want the email to go out as well, we're also going to choose 0 days. Okay? So far, if we build List Builder, and there'll be a link up top for a List Builder video. If we build a list for, the following parameters, if they fit the bill, enroll in the campaign. This video is being recorded on a Friday. So that means Saturday morning, an event will get created and an email will get sent out. Okay. Now, we want our salespeople to do a follow-up phone call on this customer. There's 2 ways to achieve this. Okay. The first way is we can just manually put a phone call in there for them. But if the bucket's too big, we could end this campaign here and go into a Smart Links campaign that would generate a phone call based off of a click on a link within this literature item. So again, there will be a Smart Link campaign that I listed before. It's also in the description. So if you want to watch about how you can use Smart Link campaigns, go ahead. We're just going to follow along on a basic campaign. So let's just pretend this is a BDC campaign. We're going to create an opportunity. We send an email. We want the BDC to follow up. So we're going to add an activity now. This activity could be called First Attempt, right? To-do code. I typically go customer retention if we're targeting our current customers. We want to retain them, right? Assign to. You can round robin it amongst your BDC team if you want. You can assign them all to one person. You can assign them to the vehicle sales rep. But in this case here, you want to typically 90% of the time choose the assigned to is the assigned to. What this assigned to is referring to is where we selected event previously assigned, that now becomes the assigned to person on that opportunity. So this task will be listed to them. It takes a couple, attempts and understandings to get this. Took me a few months when I was using DealerSocket. Okay, we want an outbound phone call, or we want them to send a text. Send a text is in here somewhere, I think, unless it's not on our test site. There it is. Send text. We want you to send a text. Reach out with program details. Okay, there's our text. Days due from creation is always 0. Run date I don't enter. Sequence is 3. It's a third step. And I want this phone call to happen 2 days after the email goes out. Okay, so now build the list, enroll the campaign. The next day, an event and an email goes out. 2 days after the email goes out, an activity is triggered for whoever we want. So let's just say they complete that phone call. We're going to add another phone call that says attempt 2. To-do code, customer retention, assigned to. We want it to be a phone call this time, not a text. Call with deets. Dues due, 0. Run date, nothing. Sequence is 4. Days after, we want it 3 days after the previous phone call. Save. Okay. Now, what's important is we still have the stop status of contacted. So at any point, the customer replies to this email and we say, hey, thanks for the reply and book an appointment. It moves it to a contacted status. It will stop first attempt, second attempt. Okay. So this is a very basic campaign, but you can get pretty intricate. You could run this campaign and at the end insert another campaign. This is a teaser functionality. I have no idea what it is, so let's not even look at that. But we can insert the next campaign in this step. If they fall outside this window and we don't gain contact, let's enroll them in the next campaign. And this could be like 4 months worth of emails every month. This could be our monthly newsletter. Could be anything, right? So Campaign Manager, very powerful for your internal processes and your marketing processes. Thanks for watching. I'm Brandon Socket. Please like, share, comment. And if you have any questions, please reach out and we will see you in the next video. Before we see you in the next video, I forgot to mention the smart work plans earlier in the recording. So you always want to click in this smart work plans. And you can choose some of these options, missing information. So if they don't have a phone number, change the outbound phone call to be a send email, or no phone number, skip the call, make it an email. So you can choose some of those. I typically don't, but there are scenarios where this is a benefit to you. Where it's really important is stop campaign when an appointment is set and display tracking code in drop-down menu. So if you want the drop-down to display the tracking code that you're using, based on the process you have in play, then you want that selected. As well as for reporting, you're going to need that selected. Stop campaign when appointment is set. Very simple. If they make an appointment, let's say they walk through the front door and say, hey, can I come back on Friday? It's not necessarily a phone call, and so a salesperson just books an appointment. It's going to stop this campaign as well. So sorry for the missed information, but we will see you next time.